there that's going to get you through the game and get you that win.
Yes.
Regardless of where that's placed, as long as he's not throwing away the game, giving up those runs, you're set. That's all that it comes down to. And maybe it doesn't have to be one guy, or that one guy can help the other guys in giving them pointers and helping them improve. And instead of being the one guy, now you have two guys or three guys. That's where it all starts.
Yes. And if we're going to get 162 games in, you're going to need as many arms as possible, Johanna, because it's going to be a long haul, and you can't really just lay everything at the foot of Joakim Soria and say, okay, you're our closer. Every time we're in a closing situation, we need you to come out. No, you need to have more talent than that. You've got to have guys that, because maybe Soria has an off night, maybe he has some off nights, and you've got to have guys that can pick up that slack. You've got to have that next guy, that next man up mentality. Somebody that can just slide right in there and just take his place, and a guy that can slide in alongside that guy and take his place if he struggles.
Exactly. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yep. But it's going to be key that Madison Bumgarner have a great year, because we know he didn't start off. He didn't have the best of years last year, especially signing a 5-year, $85 million contract. There was so much hype and hoopla around Bumgarner coming here, and rightfully so. All the great years he had in San Francisco, Diamondbacks fans and the organization themselves are thinking, okay, well, Madison can come in and have those kind of years for us. That's great for us. We'll pay $85 million to him, but he didn't have that kind of year. He had injuries and he had some mechanics issues, and it just wasn't the ideal year that he was looking for, even though he played better toward the end of the season. It just wasn't a complete season for him. So Madison's got to have another bounce back season, especially with all the talent that they unloaded trade-wise last year, with Archie, and then
don't remind me.
I know.
Do you want me to cry? No.
Yeah, it was bad when the D-backs were sellers last year. You're like, oh my gosh, they really conceded then. They got rid of all that pitching talent and, sent Starling Marte to Miami. Sorry.
Are you done?
Yes. Let's not relive the past. Sorry.
Can we move on?
Yes, let's move on.
Okay, let's move on.
But realistically, Joe, where do you see the D-backs? I know spring training just started. We haven't had any games yet. Where do you see them fitting in this division? Can they be third? Can they be better than Colorado or San Francisco? Or we hopefully don't want them in last place like they were last year. Right
now, I cannot give you that answer, unfortunately.
Still too early, right?
It's just so early. They're still making moves that haven't solidified, a lot of things. And that's one of, the things that Torrey has to work with. And that's what spring training is for. Just seeing us to what's there and seeing against, Padres and Dodgers, the Rockies. I will say that they're not 1 and they're not number 2. That's for sure. Possibly a 3. But right now it's too early to tell. Like I was asked that question, but right now I can't answer it. Who knows if they're going to keep making moves. So, as we see, there's still, moves possibly going to happen and still deals being signed. And who knows, we may be blindsided by something. Let's hope not. That's not the case. But I will come around spring training once it starts, have a couple of games under the belt and things are solidified a little bit. I can give you more of a concrete answer. Right now, I can't. It's too early to say just in general, whether that's the division, the league in itself. I can't.
I know. Okay. But if you look at the base of the D-backs with Ahmed and Eduardo Escobar, Ketel Marte, I'm looking at the roster, Christian Walker, Cole Calhoun, David Peralta. They've got a good basis.
They do.
Of a baseball team. It's a good core at it, but how consistent can they be over 162? And how good will that pitching staff be to go up against the Padres, who added Blake Snell and Yu Darvish, and of course the world champions, when they've got 3 Cy Young winners in their rotation?
Right. Yes, you do have the good core. Yes, you do have the numbers, but that only tells you so much until they get out there in the field and you see their performance and what they're bringing. Until then, that's all you get.
Yes.
Just by looking at the numbers and looking at the core, yes, it looks great on paper. But what they put out there and what you actually get and what's reality is totally different.
Yep, 2 different things, right?
Mm-hmm. We saw it. We saw it last year. We saw it the year before. So I'm not gonna put myself in that place right now. So yeah, I'll just have to come back to that. I'm not saying that they're not strong or they're not a great team, because they are, and they have that potential, but they've just have come short. And one of the things they do have to work with is their pitching. If their pitching is strong, they will get far and further than they have.
Yes. It is really hard. It's difficult when you got the Dodgers and the Padres that are just out there spending money, and they're just adding pieces, and they're keeping pieces, and they're keeping their pieces happy, a la Fernando Tatis Jr., and they bring in Manny Machado in 2019. They signed him to a $300 million contract. And you're like, okay, well, what do we do? How can we respond as the Arizona Diamondbacks to counteract this? It's not impossible, but it's very difficult.
Yeah. And then one of the things that I will say and that Mike Hazen did say in one of the interviews or media interviews that he held was that it's not that they did not have, options to go, but they just didn't see those pieces that they fit, or that they can, that it fit well with the Diamondbacks and the team. Not that they, they didn't go out and pursue, didn't want to do anything. It's just that they didn't see that it was a good fit on both ends. Or, that's what they're looking for. What Mike Hazen is looking for, the front office is looking for is, to have not only go out for a caliber player, and that's going to bring, give you that win, but it's actually going to fit, and you're going to have that chemistry.
Yeah,
not just bringing on a name to a team.
Mm-hmm.
You have the name, but you don't have that chemistry. You don't have, have that relationship where you can build on that relationship, and you have nothing. It's not that they didn't get the, had good options out there. They just, they chose and decided that it wasn't something that was a fit for the team, for the franchise, or where they wanted to go. So, and I understand that, and I respect that. With the pieces that they have now, they're strong. Yes. But have to see in the next once spring training is underway officially, and having some games starting here on the 27th, February 27th, we'll be able to see what chemistry there is, what, putting those pieces to play, and what the outcome of it is, or get a little bit of a taste of what is to come for the official season.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. I cannot wait to get baseball started. I know you're beyond excited to get the nation's pastime started. That's your love. That's your passion, baseball.
Yes. So I dream it. I breathe it. And if I could, I would probably eat it too. But yeah, it's a little excessive. But continue with baseball and talking about, we're talking numbers and such. And I want to go ahead and bring up analytics. I know we talked about it in the past, but I want to ask about the Mets. I don't know if you heard about that, and what their goal is, and increasing analytics on the organization, especially under the new owner, Steve Cohen. So how much is too much analytics, Ed? We know, and we've seen it proven that analytics does help, and it does work and can help you win championships. We've seen it. We know it. But at the same time, to what point is it too much?
It can be to be a little bit too much when that's all you're focused on is numbers, and you don't really rely on your players. You don't really rely on human beings, and you're just in front of a computer, and you're in front of a tablet or your cell phone, and that's all you're looking at is numbers. And oh my goodness, okay, what is the percentage? What's the percentage of a left-handed pitcher versus a right-handed batter, and all these different numbers, and a certain batter versus a certain pitcher? What's the likelihood that he's going to get more hits off of a certain pitcher, or a certain pitcher will strike out a certain batter a number of times just because of the history that they've had against each other, when you should just rely on your players? And we saw that happen last year in the World Series with the Tampa Bay Rays, in that controversy in Game 6, and how that ended up killing the Tampa Bay Rays, right? Mm-hmm. When that ultimate boneheaded move was to in that pitching decision.
Yeah, I forgot about that for a second. Yes. And then I want to also bring this in. And the Mets, they eliminated, which I think is an important role, or position for the team, they eliminated the quality control coach position. So how much is that going to have an effect? They eliminated it so they can have a direct line of communication between analysts and the coaching staff. But isn't that also, an important role that you should have?
A quality control person? Yes.
Yeah. What is that going to do to your structure and to the game?
Yeah, because the ultimate goal is to actually put a quality product out each and every night, right, Joanna? And why would you eliminate a person that's in charge of quality control in the name and the sake of analytics, all in the love of numbers and the overabundance of love of numbers? Mm-hmm. For their sake, I hope it works for them.
Yeah, I'm very, very curious. This seems like I know everyone's in it to win it. Everyone has their, goes in for the same ultimate goal at the end of the season, winning a World Series. But I think if you're focused a little bit too much on the numbers and you're not focusing on the game in itself, and also having fun and enjoying it, and also being able to look away from the numbers and trust your gut that you're making the right move, you're making the right choice, and actually not analyzing, not in a number type of way, but also analytical, where it becomes more of a logic. Am I making the right move? Do I, with this pitcher, or do I leave them in? Do I take them out? What do I do from here? Those type of situations. And I think it's going to change a lot.
It is. And how many bad decisions are going to be made by managers because, like Kevin Cash did in Game 6 of the World Series, and pulling Blake Snell, who ironically is now part of the San Diego Padres, but how many decisions are going to be made that will backfire on baseball teams because they're thinking, okay, the people above me, all the front office personnel, what are they thinking? How are they going to keep relaying these numbers to me and telling me when I've got to pull my pitcher out, when I've got to make all these substitutions in the course of a game, when I know my baseball players better than anybody? I should be the one making the decisions, not the people from the front office, just because their numbers say that they should make these decisions, right?
Yes, you read my mind, because as you were saying that, and I had a feeling you probably were going to go there, was that trusting your coach, trusting your coaching staff. Isn't that what you hire these people to do? Trust in the job that they're going to do, and they're going to be able to perform and bring an outcome, which you're going to, hopefully it's going to be a great outcome. We know sometimes that's not always the case, but that's the job of the front office, to hire this coaching staff and have that trust and relationship. Because
right.
If not, and if you're going to do this and bringing up analytics and doing the numbers, where is that trust?
It's little to none in an organization. And if you're going to rely simply on analytics and not really trust your managers, okay, well, why don't you guys manage by committee? Why don't the front office of a baseball team just be the managers themselves and not have anybody in the dugout, or have them in the dugout managing? Have your iPad with you, or your MacBook Pro, or whatever you got, your iPhone, and you're just looking up numbers. Okay. And that's how you manage a baseball team. Let's see how that works.
Well, we saw how that worked.
Yes. It worked out horrifically for Tampa Bay.
Exactly. So we'll see how it works out. And with the Mets, we'll be keeping a close eye on them. And hopefully it's for the best. It might work out for them. But
as long as they do it in moderation, Joanna, right? There's nothing wrong with analytics and numbers, but don't let that dominate an organization to the point that's all you focus on is numbers. And again, you don't have that human belief. You don't have that human interaction with each other, and you don't trust your manager to make the decisions. You trust the numbers more than you do the guy you're paying to make those decisions.
Yes, exactly. And talking about making decisions, one last thing I want to touch on, because I know we're coming here to an end shortly.
It's been 2 hours already, Joe?
Yes, time flies when you're having fun, Ed.
Yes.
You've had too much fun today, don't you think?
Yes.
Or can you have too much fun? Can you ever have too much fun, really?
Never.
I guess it just depends who you ask, right?
Right, yes. But not us. We can never have too much fun.
Now when it comes to sports, and especially for me, baseball, right? And talking to some great friends. So, all right. So I want to go